To start, you came out to LA in 2012 for an internship. Was there a specific moment while you were out here when you realized that you weren't going to go back to Arkansas and instead wanted to pursue a career in this industry?
Oh, that's a good question. I always joke that I came out here and said I was going to take a gap year, and that turned into 10 really quickly. Um, but no, I don't know if I had a specific moment. I wanted to give myself a chance to kind of go for it because that was kind of some advice I got from my manager, who I'm still with now. And then I to this like at the end of the year when would have been time for me to go back to college and actually be good on my gap year promise. I just felt like I hadn't accomplished what I wanted to yet, so I decided to stay. And by then I had joined like an acting studio in LA, and so I just felt like this was the right move for me.
When you look at your career as a whole, who or what has had the biggest influence, either personally or professionally?
There's a few people. My manager, who I just mentioned, Valerie McCaffrey, really took a chance on me when I first got out here. Elizabeth Barnes, who's the casting director who I had the internship with, and then my acting coach, Lisa Melillo, I feel like changed my life.
In addition to the work that you've done on screen, you've also written and directed. How have those experiences behind the camera made you a stronger actor and vice versa?
I feel like I learned, yeah, kind of the most doing both like on camera like classes and then, writing and directing shorts for like with my friends for like no money, but just to kind of get some experience because, you come out here and you're like, everyone's telling you to build a reel and do all this
Mhm.
so you can like actually get in the door for these auditions, but it's such a catch 22. So you have to, or I had to make shorts of my friends and just so I'd have any footage of me acting that my manager could show casting directors or agents or anything like that.
And it's been a decade-long career, like you were just saying. Has anything surprised you about this journey thus far?
Yeah, I mean, calling it a decade long is really generous because I feel like I only started working a few years ago. Um, I don't know. I'm constantly surprised by it all, and I feel really lucky to have gotten to do the projects I've gotten to do. Like, I mean, with Wednesday working with Tim Burton, that was
Yeah.
unreal. And before that, Your Honor with Bryan Cranston, I was such a big like Breaking Bad fan. I remember when I was like in my acting studio when that finale happened in 2013. I remember like going to class and be like, no one's spoiling it. I got to go home. I'm not checking my phone. I don't want to hear it here from one of you. So it was really cool to end up working with him.
Speaking of Wednesday, can you tell us about this series, your character, and what drew you to this project?
Uh, yeah, so Wednesday's about Wednesday Addams in high school, and basically she gets kicked out of like a normal school because they cannot contain her, and so she gets sent to Nevermore Academy, which is a place for outcasts and kids with special powers and abilities. And that school is located in the town of Jericho, and that's where Wednesday meets my character Tyler, who is a normie, as they're not so lovingly referred to as, and he doesn't have any powers, but they meet at the coffee shop and he kind of becomes like an unlikely ally in her like
Yeah.
attempt to escape the school.
Yeah, and Tyler and Wednesday have such a unique journey throughout the series. What was it like getting to collaborate with Jenna as you brought those different shades and of that dynamic to life on the screen?
It was great. I mean, Jenna is amazing, as anyone who's seen the show is gonna know, or any of her other work. And she's just so smart about everything. Because one of the things I thought was trickiest was like, how do you attempt to build a relationship and a as from Tyler's point of view, an attempted love story arc with Wednesday Addams, because you think of the character not having much emotion, but then Jenna and Tim both kind of, I've learned so much from them just about like how subtle you can be in building these like just breaking down her walls a little bit, or she's like slowly begins to trust him, and then finding moments to be charmed by her darkness and oddness as opposed to being like turned off as everyone else is. And then like also finding moments where like she's messing, think Tyler thinks, oh, she's messing with me, so he's like tries to like jab at her back, and it kind of, they end up having more of a banter rather than
Yeah.
we're just putting him down constantly, even though there's a lot of that.
Definitely. You know, Tyler also has a really complex relationship with his family, which you brought so much nuance to on the screen. As an actor, how did you create the space for yourself to dive into kind of that more emotional arc?
I feel like I had a good understanding of like where Tyler started out even before we meet him because he's lost his mom at a young age
Yeah.
and I lost my dad like 5 years ago. So I understood that kind of pain to bring to like just the underbelly of it all. And then I was working a lot with Jamie McShane, who played my dad, and we rehearsed a lot together outside of set and like talked about everything with Alan Miles, the showrunners. Um, and then there was a lot of stuff actually that didn't quite make the show that I think because it was kind of too dark in some of the scenes that Jamie and I had. But even though, because I think the show turned out really funny, and that
Yeah.
was an interesting part trying to figure it out while we were shooting. I was like, these scenes seem so funny, and then this scene I'm getting slapped around a little bit. But I'm glad we did film those scenes and I read them because it informed so much of our relationship. And I think you get to like feel everything that's going on with them, even though you don't see those scenes.
Yeah, this is also Tim Burton's first television series. What was it like getting to collaborate with him and sharing that milestone? And what did you learn from that collaboration that helped elevate the performance that we see on screen and also potentially the way that you direct in the future?
Tim is so great to work with. Honestly, what I learned most from him was, or what I took away most from him was just a sense of confidence because he doesn't ever over direct. Like he knows, like he kind of rehearses and he talks us through it and blocks it. And he's very specific in the preparation of it all and in the look of it for sure. Um, but he doesn't step in and just he doesn't like get in and like nitpick you too much. And one night at dinner, he told us about his casting process and how he knows the right actor when he sees it for the role, and then he just kind of trusts them to do their own work. And to hear Tim Burton say that filled me with so much confidence that I
Mm.
felt like I could handle the rest of the season.
Great answer. You know, there's an ongoing murder mystery that happens throughout this series. How early on did the writers clue you in on who was behind those events that unfold?
Yeah, spoiler warning for anyone. So during the audition process, I basically found out because right before my final test, I had to do a chemistry read with Jenna, and Tim was going to be there, and I had a scene with Percy too, who plays Xavier on the
Yeah,
show, and um, that scene ended up being cut because it was a little too suspicious. Because the note I got before it was that Tyler had a big secret, and I remember asking, I
yeah.
was like, "Is it the secret?" And they like wouldn't officially tell me, but we kind of got enough hints for me to know to play just the little bit of the darkness there. And then after I got cast, Alan Miles, we had like an hour and a half phone call where they like filled me in on the whole history of Tyler and what was really going on there.
It's so unexpected when the reveal comes about Tyler. How do you, as an actor, make sure it doesn't bleed into kind of the first couple of episodes in the series and just like drop little subtle hints in there?
Well, I thought the scripts were so good, and like when I looked at all 8 episodes on the page, it was one of those things like once you got to episode 8, if you looked back, it's like, oh, this makes sense. Like,
Yeah,
and I felt like I didn't want to be like winking at the audience, and like I didn't want to make it too obvious, so I tried to approach them as Tyler wants to pull this off, so he's gonna lie. Like my whole goal for the first 7 episodes is basically to play the stereotypical like perfect boyfriend type
yeah.
character that Tyler's trying to convince Wednesday that that's all he is, um, and then have a total switch in episode 8. So it was fun to kind of play like two different characters basically.
Yeah, also another perfect segue to this next question. But like you're just saying, when that reveal happens, there's kind of like this switch that happens in episode 8 where we get to see Tyler in his true form. How did you prepare to play those different sides of him?
Been preparing for a long time just about like the like inner work of it all, about like why this is like why what Tyler feels. And I think that all came down back to his mom and the
Yeah,
fact that he basically been lied to his whole life about what really happened to her. And then Laurel Gates, Miss Thornhill, played by Christina Ricci, is the first person to ever tell him the truth and why she died. and I think it filled him with so much rage, and he hates Nevermore because they wouldn't accept her because she was a Hyde, so she was never able to learn to control her power and ended up killing her. So um, yeah, I think that was like where the justification for him came from. Um, and then I looked at a bunch of movies too, especially for that monologue. I tried to like really go back and like figure out like how I wanted to approach it. I remember like rewatching like Silence of the Lambs and um, even Scream, like the first Scream movie. I remember I love when the Billy character has that big switch in that
Yeah.
movie, um, which was a fun connection because that was Scream's 5 was Jenna was about to come out at the time. But yeah,
Yeah, it's very unexpected. I think audiences are going to be really shocked when they find out that Tyler is Hyde. And the series ends with a pretty open-ended, and there's potential for a season two. If we were lucky enough to get a season two, where do you want to see Tyler's storyline head?
yeah. Oh God, I know. I hope we get season 2 just because I mean, like I said, it's like I played 2 different characters, but I only got to play the real one for like 3 scenes.
Yeah.
um, I don't know. I'm really excited to see what Alan Miles have in store. They've kept it close to their chest about what exactly would be going on, but I think Tyler's just even more pissed off. Definitely curious to see like what is going to go on with him now that he doesn't have a master kind of pulling the strings on him too. Um, yeah, there's definitely a lot to explore there.
Yeah, I think this show is definitely a lock for a renewal. It's already getting so many great reviews online. Did you feel any pressure heading into this project, just given how beloved the Adam Family franchise is, and kind of this new take on these beloved characters?
Yeah, I felt I mean, a ton of pressure even from the first time I got the audition. It had like a code name, and then once I kind of like figured out what it actually was auditioning for, and for learning that Tim was involved. Um, yes, that's I mean that's the main answer there is that I've definitely felt the pressure, and I feel the pressure now as it's like building up. The show's coming up
Yeah.
in like 3 days now. I'm just kind of on the edge of my seat and hoping that people like what we did.
They definitely will. Have you started making plans of how you're going to celebrate the release of the series?
Yeah, so I'm actually going home to my hometown in Arkansas, and
Nice.
my friend Grace, who I moved out to Arkansas with, she and her mom have helped me plan a little screening in my hometown at a movie theater. So we're gonna all get together with my friends and family and binge. I don't know how much of it, but probably most or all on the day.
It's definitely a bingeable show. I binge watched the whole series in one sitting.
Oh,
Uh,
really? That's awesome.
yeah. You deliver such a standout performance in the show. When it comes out, is there a particular scene or episode that you're really excited for your fans to see?
Well, thank you so much. Um, I think I really like the first episode. Is like there's a lot of like fun in that one, and then I haven't seen it yet, but I'm excited for to see episode 6 because it's just different with me, Wednesday, and Enid going around together, and then yeah, episode 8
Yeah.
is the most fun. And I haven't seen it yet. I've only seen the first 2 episodes, so I'm excited to
Oh wow.
see how it turned out.
It's really good. The series is absolutely fantastic. Outside of this show, you also have another short film that's making its way around the festival circuit. Is there anything that you can tell us about Ringing Rocks?
Yeah, so that's with this really talented filmmaker, Gus Reed. And he reached out to me when I was still in Romania shooting Wednesday, and it was they were like starting production like the day after I was going to get home from Romania, and we weren't sure if it was going to work out, but I like loved his script and really wanted to play the character, so thank God it worked out. And I just got to see that one. I'm really proud of how it turned out. I'm excited. I think he and I are going to work on another film coming up pretty
Cool.
soon. um, yeah, I hope hopefully that can end up online someday and people can check it out.
Definitely. I got one final question for you. You're such a dynamic storyteller. As you look ahead to the next 5 to 10 years, is there a dream role or a story that you would love to bring to life, either as an actor or writer or a director?
I mean, I've definitely got some scripts that I've been working on, and I'm hoping to, write and direct something like a feature length at some point in my life. But I don't like to plan out too much because I feel like all of the best opportunities that have come my way have I just never would have anticipated it, and I never could have seen Your Honor or Wednesday coming, but they've been like life changing experiences. So yeah, I'm just gonna stay open and keep on reading great scripts and hopefully getting to work on more great projects.